This program is brought to you by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. This is NDDC Today.
Good evening and a warm welcome to NDDC Today, the official news platform of the NDDC. The challenge to develop infrastructure and human capital in nations in the world varies among countries, and no nation is said to have a history of advanced development on a platter of gold. The Niger Delta region, with its peculiar terrain and decades of neglect, will certainly get development if all the relevant stakeholders of this region will give in their genuine political will, commitment, time, peace, and patience. The NDDC, however, is in the front line championing that desired development of the oil-rich region by building infrastructure and human capital development programs as promised by President Muhammadu Buhari upon resumption of office in 2015. Every week we are here to serve you details of all activities of NDDC that, in spite of all the distractions, the Commission is plodding on. This week on NDDC Today, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs collaborate with NDDC to set up a committee to tackle the menace of flood in the Niger Delta region, and forensic auditors charged to be thorough in the audit of NDDC. Relief as 197 foreign scholars receive $5.910 million study grants. Details of these and more when we return. Stay with us. It's another month of September, and according to the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, flood prediction report for 2020 says that about 114 local government areas of the Niger Delta region may go under the floodwaters again. Now, that prediction has given major stakeholders of the region a cause for worry. But our hope is not lost yet, as the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, in collaboration with NDDC and other sister agencies, have come up with an idea. What has experience of the flooding in the Niger Delta been like?
Floods are a natural environmental hazard that most times come with devastating implications on the local economy, damage to properties, threat to public health and safety, and local biodiversity. Whenever floods occur in severe manner, communities along riverbanks are the worst hit. 2/3 of local communities and towns in the Niger Delta live along the coastlines of the rivers and rivulets, and their livelihood is subjected to serious troubles whenever flooding occurs in the region. The flood in the year 2012 is a good example of a major ecological disaster in Nigeria's history. It killed a total of 137 people and displaced over 120,000 households nationwide. The Niger Delta was worst hit and in a sorry state. Flooding has become a yearly occurrence in Nigeria and has been severe since 2012, as you will see in this report.
In the Niger Delta, it's always been a case of water everywhere, but none to drink. But since 2012, the situation has taken a dramatic turn. The water is now attacking the rural communities. Everywhere is floods. Water now in the houses, on the roads, on the streets, even in the bedrooms. Many settlements in Western Ahoda have been badly hit.
The drivers drive. They pursue me, the drivers they come.
No cranny or nook has been spared. This year, as often, the Orasha River has burst its banks, and the resultant floods have been unforgiving.
According to people and rumors, they say that this time around is dam.
The floods have shown no regard for personalities, chieftains, or churches. Everything and everyone has been touched.
We just suffer. No way to play. The children cannot play. We cannot walk because everywhere is filled of water.
It's difficult to imagine that just 4 months ago, this was a thriving farming and fishing community. Now they need not go into the river to fish. The river has brought the fish to their compounds, roads, and parlors. Just throw a net in what was once your parlor, and you could get this.
Put the net and I just go check the net.
Unfortunately, the water also brings in displaced reptiles looking for an abode.
They killed 3 today. That way they are swimming every time. Like this young man, that was 4 days ago. Snake went and bite him. You understand? But we thank God, we find a means to solve that problem.
The vehicle of choice for visiting friends is now the canoe. What was once a bedroom is now a submerged swim away. Now, I think the real Olympic swimming medal should go to the guys here. Living in these conditions is really sheer madness. To compound the situation, it seems this has become a yearly occurrence in Ahoda West and other Niger Delta riverine states. So, why don't the people move?
To relocate from your own community, it's not by your power. It's not by our power. At least you can move to another place. The resources to manage other communities, it's not there with us. It is government that manage those things. But we cannot run away, we are just here.
So, they can't move. Although some have moved upstairs, as the water has taken the entire ground floor and grounds. New staircases and walkways have been improvised. This is a sand dune, part of a failed attempt at shore protection and reclamation. This sand haven in the town is now doubling as a bedroom for many who have nowhere to sleep.
Very soon, if you look, you will see just a few of them are coming. Anything from 6, 7, you will see here we don't fill up with people because no place to pass night. Always come here.
The consensus of opinion here is that the authorities haven't done enough.
Nothing. Till now, almost 2 months, this place is flooded. The local governments never come one day. Brand. No food. We struggle before we eat.
This is a typical Niger Delta community, Ahoda West in River State, where the floods in 2019 sacked several communities. The devastating impact in that story remains the tip of the iceberg when compared to the havoc caused in other locations across the region. It is in this guise that the federal government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, planned an interministerial committee to be put in place to work out an acceptable blueprint document that can be used in going forward as an instrument of reducing the negative consequences of flooding in the Niger Delta region. Inaugurating the 11-member Interagency Committee on Assessment of Potential Impacts of Flooding and the Level of Preparedness in the Niger Delta region, Senator Godswill Akpabio stressed the importance of the committee's assignment and the expected end results they hope to achieve from this government interagency collaboration committee, being the first of its kind to be put in place to tackle flood matters in the Niger Delta.
We are not praying that those things must happen, but with the prediction coming from the experts, we must make hay while the sun shines. We felt that there was any community or group of people, even an institution that fails to plan, has planned to fail. We cannot wait to be only reactive. We should be proactive. We can't wait to buy coffins and carry people. We should even stop the people from dying. And at the same time, we cannot wait to go and attempt to build houses when we know we can save those houses that are standing right now. But we cannot do that on our own. We cannot do so through expert advice, and that is why all of you are here from various agencies.
The minister went further to spell out the major terms of reference that will guide the committee's report.
Number one, to assess the anticipated impact of the 2020 seasonal rainfall prediction in the Niger Delta region, the 9 states of the Niger Delta. Then two, to assess the expected flooding, its impact in the region, and also to ensure major flood preparedness in all the 9 states of the Niger Delta region. And then we also do assessment of the human displacement management plans, assessment of human displacement as a result of the flood. So we should have plans to be able to take care in the event of such occurrence. We should identify locations for possible IDP camps in the event of evacuation in the region if the flood gets to the level that we are predicting now.
The Minister of State, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Omotayo Donald Alasho Adura, advised all the concerned ministries and agencies to do more work in the area of adequate sensitization and cooperation with state governments and relevant stakeholders so as to achieve a better result for the task before them and the committee. Also speaking at the inauguration committee, the acting managing director of Nddc, Professor Kemebradikumo Ponde, commended the timeliness of the inauguration of the committee.
This committee is very timely. It's an interministerial or interagency committee collaborating to prevent another disaster. Since 2012, I think there was a major flood in 2012 that affected, I think it caught most of the states unawares as per their preparation, even though I'm very certain that NISA and NIMET must have warned them. But the resultant effect was very, very devastating. And after 2012, it has become almost like a yearly thing. The one last year was slightly mitigated because of some of the interventions that the Nddc did. At least I saw that in Bayelsa, the canalization or desilting reduced it.
Professor Ponde further lamented the lack of similar synergy between the Nddc and the region's state governments in the past, even as he expressed his worries about the state of the livelihood of victims of past floods in the region, who he noted their lives had never been the same again.
But now, the impact on the people of the region has not been taken into consideration. It is now becoming like a way of life, but their lives are totally disrupted, especially those living in the freshwater area. And if this committee does the work and comes up with a work plan, and as an intervention agency, NDC does some intervention, I think it will go a long way. But just as the Honorable Minister of State has said, without working with the state governments, it's going to be very difficult. And that's one of the issues we've had in the NDC, taking decisions for good and not involving the state governments. And so we will support this committee to the very end, and hope that the report does not become a piece of paper on the shelf, that it's something that's actually workable and doable.
The chairman of the committee and director of environmental management of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Dr. Ernest Mbiye Onye Achanam, in his remarks, said that the committee would work tirelessly and leave no stone unturned to ensure that the report was delivered on schedule. The Interagency Committee is made up of members drawn from the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster and Social Development, Ministry of Environment, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NIHASA, Nigeria Police Force, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and the Niger Delta Development Commission, Nddc, as secretary. The committee has 2 weeks to submit its report.
A brilliant idea in the making there. We hope the committee will get down to work as promised and as quickly as possible. Away from flood waters or flood matters, we are glad to tell you that the so much touted forensic audit has begun. Yes, you will recall that a lot of controversies about who appoints and pays the auditors for the Nddc forensic audit assignment had generated a lot of ripples from among stakeholders of the Niger Delta and the Nddc. The good news is the auditors, whose assignment is to examine and propose solutions to the many loopholes, if any, in the Commission's projects and finance books, have now been inaugurated.
The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Obong Godswill Akpabio, has reinstated that the Presidential Directive on the Holistic Examination of Activities of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, from its inception in 2001 to August 2019, is not just in furtherance of the present administration's policy agenda to check corruption, but a determined effort to reposition the NDDC to change the narrative of the region. The Honorable Minister, who doubles as Supervising Minister of the NDDC, stated this while inaugurating the Field Forensic Auditors on Thursday the 3rd of September 2020 in his office in Abuja. According to Senator Akpabio, the 8 forensic auditors were cleared by the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, based on individual firms' technical competencies and financial compliance.
You were chosen as a result of your technical competencies, and of course, you ensured financial compliance to undertake this national assignment that will hopefully usher in a new lease of life in the Niger Delta region and reposition the Niger Delta Development Commission to meet the yearnings and aspirations of the founding fathers.
The minister recalled that the government's efforts at repositioning the Niger Delta region led to the formation of NDDC in the year 2000 by the Act of Parliament, mainly to address the issues of ecological and socio-economic development problems in the region after many failed attempts. The minister further stated that it is pertinent to have a forensic audit considering the amount of resources poured into the Commission over the years, compared with the level of development recorded over the same period of time.
It is therefore this huge gap between resources invested and the physical and human and economic development indices seen on ground that this forensic audit is now about to unravel.
I want to assure you that the NDDC will fully cooperate and support the forensic auditors. The job of the NDDC is to provide a conducive environment, necessary logistics and information as it comes and goes.
Today's event is quite historical, and it shows that this forensic audit exercise has come to stay, and it will kick off immediately without any further delay, because all obstacles that delay the takeoff today has been removed.
Welcome back. We do hope that the forensic audit exercise will usher in the much-needed stimulus for the rapid development of the Niger Delta region. The delay in the remittance of school fees to about 197 NDDC postgraduate scholars studying in foreign universities has been a thorn in the flesh of the NDDC for some months now. However, with the presidential approval to pay the students, the Commission say the sum of $5.910 million has been disbursed, as detailed in this report.
The NDDC Foreign Postgraduate Scholarship Scheme is one of the Commission's programs aimed at enhancing the lives and fortunes of the people of the Niger Delta. The scheme, which began in 2010 and has witnessed several beneficiaries, represents the future manpower and professionals that are needed to help transform the Niger Delta region and fill the gaps in the oil and gas industry. But for some time now, some problems have emerged about payment of the scholarship funds. This situation came to a head recently during the investigative hearing by the House of Representatives, bordering on issues to do with accountability of funds spent by the Commission.
We were processing these scholarships for these students before the late EDFA died. Right now, as we speak, the scholarship payment is being processed, and this week we clear the scholarships from 2016.
Several students under the scheme had actually staged protests over the issue. The Professor Kemebradi-Kumo-led Interim Management Committee, IMC, of the NDDC has risen to the challenge. It has staked its commitment to funding the foreign scholarship program. Recently, the Commission paid the sum of $5,910,000 to 197 scholarship beneficiaries of the 2019 batch, while payment process for 94 beneficiaries of the 2018 batch are ongoing. This followed the approval of the payments by the Presidency through the efforts of the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio. Among the 197 beneficiaries of the 2019 batch are 43 PhD students, comprising of 12 scholars in the 2016 batch and 31 for 2019. Each of the students in this category got the sum of $30,000, which amounted to $1,290,000. The master's degree category comprised of 154 beneficiaries of the 2019 batch and were each paid the sum of $30,000, which amounted to $4,420,000. The payment process for 94 beneficiaries of the 2018 batch, which comprise of 40 PhD scholars and 54 MSc, are ongoing.
Hello, Kyle.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Please, my name is Patrick Oke. We work for NDDC with a television program. We understand that some of these, you guys abroad, you have been having difficulties, but now they have started paying. So I want to know if they have settled you.
Me personally or all of us?
Well, not all, you personally.
Yes, I have.
Okay, you have been settled.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many people perhaps have been settled?
I can't give a specific number, but I think almost everyone. The last, I understand that the last set of payments for 2019 seems like they are just starting this morning. A lot of people are beginning to receive payments now.
Thank God.
Hello?
Hello, am I speaking to Mr. Azeri?
Yes, Azeri.
Yeah, so good afternoon. Please, we work for NDDC. We do the television program. And recently we heard that the scholarship people abroad have been settled or are being settled. So we want to know if you are okay, if they've been settling you.
Yes, I have been settled.
Oh, you have been settled, so you're fine.
Yes.
You're quite happy.
Thank you.
Okay then. Wish you luck. Study hard.
In a statement released by the NDDC, the Commission stated that the delay in the remittance of the fees to the students was caused by the untimely demise of the former Acting Executive Director, Finance and Administration, EDFA, Chief Ibanga Basietang, as according to the Commission's finance protocol, only the EDFA and the EDP can sign for the release of funds from the Commission's domiciliary accounts with the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN.
Indeed, the Niger Delta has the potential to be a Dubai in Africa if all is well coordinated. The IMC of the NDDC thinks this can happen.
The Interim Management Committee, IMC, of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, has restated its resolve to pay more attention to regional projects as mapped out in the Niger Delta Regional Development Master Plan. The NDDC Acting Executive Director, Projects, Dr. Cairo Ojobo, said this during a solidarity visit by prominent Niger Delta elder Olorogun Otega Emefo at the Commission's permanent headquarters in Port Harcourt. Ojobo stressed that the NDDC was taking the issue of regional projects in the 2020 budget very seriously, stating that the desire of the Commission is to make the Niger Delta to look like Dubai.
Our next budget, we are taking regional projects very seriously because we had thought that we can bring Niger Delta to look like what Dubai is.
Speaking further, Dr. Ojobo said that the biggest problem of the NDDC was the historic debts that the Commission has been saddled with. He said everything possible was being done to see that those projects that can be verified will be paid for, while those that cannot be verified will be left for the forensic auditors. Ojobo commended Olorogun Otega Emefo for identifying with the IMC in spite of attempts by some people to tarnish the image of the team. In his remarks, Otega Emefo observed that it had not been the best of times for the NDDC, noting that despite the rough times, the Commission had a success story to tell with the almost completed 13-floor new headquarters building. He thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for appointing members of the IMC, whom he noted were all from the Niger Delta region. Emefo affirmed that the President has the prerogative to appoint anyone into a position of authority. According to him, they have to do the work because the work needs to be done. He called on everybody to support the IMC and work with them so that the Niger Delta can be developed.
I plead with you that we should do the best to uplift Niger Delta so that we don't blame other people, because we are supposed to develop it. The opportunity has been given to us.
That's the size of our program today. Thank you so much for joining us. But do join us same time next week from me and the NDDC crew. Good night.